Hello YouTube, my name is Natero and today I want to run you through a Project Cars caper car setup that someone had requested on a previous video I have done. Now, I forgot to tell this in my video as I do the live commentary. L2 and R2 changes the page of what setup you're on, and you can look up in the left hand corner somewhere and it will say like damper, setup, or suspension, brakes and tires, things like that. And you can go through what I did. Now, again, if this is too confusing, I can run through it again. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, I'm going to go do a lap and show you quickly what this car handles like with no setup on it. No, I do have clutch on, so this might be a little bit different. This is with a setup. We're going to do 2 laps. Maybe just 1. Yeah, we'll do 1. A warm up and then an out. Alright, this is going to be a setup for almost all tracks. This isn't just this specific track. This is my favorite track, so I can use it as a really good representation of what's happening to my car. People say the car is very loose, and you gotta be very careful. As you can, I don't know, you can kind of see. Okay, yeah, you can definitely see. I've already wrecked my lap because I have damage on, but it's very loose, and the back end likes to swing out a lot on you. The back end in this game for the stock car isn't very grounded as is, so you have to try and ground that. And that's what we're gonna be doing with this video today. If you guys are thinking I'm faking this, I'm not. I honestly can't even drive these things myself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the pit box. What you really want to do is lower the tire pressures already, go down to 181 on the rears, and then 193 on the fronts. Sorry if I'm cutting out. This is the first time I've ever done a live commentary for Project Cars, so this is just kind of new. Now you want to get 7 here, and you want to put 66 on the back. Actually, no, go 6.5 on the front, because if you go 7.0, you'll just make your situation just a bit worse. Always increase this to 51% so you get that nosedive into the corner. And the only time you ever use this is if you're at an oval, because I like how it says the center is, well, you can see where the center is, but it's all the way on the right saying it's already at half. So it's kind of off a little bit, but then again, you probably can't even move the bias to the, you can't even move the bias to the right at all, so that tells you right there. That's why it's all the way over there. So never adjust this. Always leave this right here, unless you go to an oval, but they're not here. Go to the front toe angle and reduce that to -1, and then this is +1. And then this is a very important part, is this car is very loose as it is after the 8.0 update, or maybe it was 7.0. These cars got extremely loose because they all default steering ratios used to be at around 19 something, and they moved them all the way up to 13, I think, on most cars. But I go all the way down. If you have a controller, if you have a steering wheel, this is more of a personal preference, but I go down to personally 29.4 /1. And then you want to go over this, and you want to lower this all the way down to 80, because this car already doesn't ride low enough to scrape anyway, and you'll scrape in certain areas, but it's usually very minimal. This fluctuates per track. If you need more downforce, go up to 91. If it needs less, or if you need to go more straightaways, you go down to anywhere 87 to 91 typically. We'll go 89 just for the heck of it. Now, this depends on the track you want to do, but first, actually I'll go back to springs in a second. We're going to go to the rear sway bar and turn that all the way off. And then if you're not turning enough, lower this once, or if it's like still kind of loose, go up 1. But always leave that at 0 on the caper car. Again, unless you're at an oval, like Mojave Coyote Noose, I think. You're going to take these and go down to 96. And you're going to take this and go down to 48. You can run about, I say about 130. If you're at Watkins Glen specifically, you can run about 130, 140 laps before this thing will finally blow. So for shorter races, you could go all the way down to this, and it'd still be fine. 48. Turn brake mapping off. For fuel load, I always make sure you can see the little lap thing on my arrow. Make sure it's down to about 4 laps. Anything more, it will become kind of you'll be carrying around extra weight. And you can also use the fuel as a way to, if it's not swinging enough, you add more. And if it's too tight, if it's too tight and the back end's not coming out, add more. And if it's too loose, take some away. Because the fuel actually does slosh around and make you slower. Make sure this is all the way up. Gearing, I don't usually do too much, but I do always increase this to 0.87 and go up one here and then leave it at that. Sometimes, in some cases, if I don't feel like I'm getting enough launch, I'll move over to and get a bigger launch off starts. And then this is just typical, or depending on the track, you can do more, but usually just leave that where it is. We're going to go back to tires and brakes. Make sure that's down. Just making sure. You want to get rid of some brake pressure, by the way, 95. I'm going out of order. I'm just going in order of how I usually think of things. I'm sorry if this is all over the place. Like, again, this is the first time. If this is confusing, I'll make another one if this is too confusing for you guys. So, let's go try that right now and see how that does. I can't use this view, I'm sorry. Actually, it's probably a good idea for you guys, so you can see how much it slides. Now, you can already tell there's a lot less movement, but the tires are still cold, so let's see if we can actually complete a lap this time. Alright, if you're in any given lap, if you're running you should run full throttle up that hill always, and you should be about 163 by the end of the straightaway. But not right now, because this is an opening lap. This is very hard in a non-cockpit view. Again, I always recommend the cockpit view, as you have a better feeling of what's happening to the car. You can kind of feel it a little bit better. One thing important about caper cars is if you shift too early, you'll deal with the car's rear end locking up and then you spin out, so you also have to deal with that. Kind of stepped out of there a little bit because I shifted down. Again, I usually use cockpit, so this is very hard for me to feel what's happening to my car, but again, always use the bumper cam something. Don't ever use third person view. Step in third. Roll this corner. And you also want to try and shift as less as you can. This won't be a hot lap, by the way, considering I don't have, I'm not in my cockpit view and I can't hit my marks correctly all the way. Always stay in third for this corner. Roll it. And then once you get around it, you can start accelerating. Taper out. Taper in. Roll. Taper out again. This is a setup video and I'm telling you how to run walk and spin. That works out really well. It's already a lot more controllable than it was the first time. Now, this isn't my personal setup. This is just overall setup. Shift to fourth, and accelerate. You want to accelerate all the way up this, and you want to get as close to this as you can to give you enough speed to go all the way around this. I didn't full accelerate there because I didn't get wide enough at the bottom. You want to arc it wide on the bottom and then hug right up to the white line on the right side of the car, so you have a better shot and angle into the second part of the S. Brake. Leave it in fourth most of the time into a corner. Then when you're ready to accelerate, rotate, or shift down. And you can see how much when I shifted down, it rotated a lot right there. I'm not quite sure why it's just caper cars that do this. It's frequent. It's very frequent spinning out in this car because of that. Well, you know, dang it. I didn't really hit the wall. But, yeah, this back end likes to step out a lot with this car. And that's kind of why you have the rear toe angle the way it is. To kind of catch it just a little bit with that inside, the back tire, the one that's facing it, it kind of helps catch it a little. Don't go excessive, you know, like, hey. You gotta keep it moderate. All right, let's go back to the return pit box and see what else we can do. Another thing, this is probably the last part of the video, as I felt like the car was pretty good overall. You can, if you need more grip into a corner, the back end still steps out quite a bit, just accelerating itself. You can take some off here because you can't go any more on the camber, but you can take some off here and it'll kind of balance it out. Also, with dampers, you can do this. You go all the way to the very bottom. And if you read the slow and fast rebounds, you want to stiffen the fronts and soften the rear to reduce oversteer over bumps and curbs. All right, so soften the rear, but you could also bring these way up and have a huge difference. I hope this video helped you. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments below, and I'll make another one a little bit more professionally. And just tell me what I need to be more professional on is a better way to say this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.